Most companies waste insane amounts of time on meetings. People talk in circles, nothing gets done, and people walk out of these meetings feeling drained. And believe it or not, a badly managed meeting culture in a company has been proven to be what employees dread the most about the companies that they work for. And when people dread showing up at the company they work at, they're a lot more likely to leave whenever a better opportunity comes by. And a badly managed meeting culture typically tends to happen in rapidly growing businesses, which I know is the type of persona that watches this channel. Web3, crypto founders that often get funding, that are often pre-launched, so they end up hiring a lot of people internally, and it ends up with a very badly managed company meeting culture. And truthfully, this was a problem that we faced at Unfungible. For most of my entrepreneurial experience, I was used to running a team of myself and maybe another person. I did this for a good 7 years. And then when I started Unfungible, after a couple of years, we started growing from 2 people to 5 people to 10 people. And then we very quickly exploded to over 20 people. So I didn't necessarily have the skill sets of creating a strong meeting culture within the team. And what ended up happening at the beginning of this year, I found myself just being on meetings for 5 hours every single day, unable to do anything but being on meetings. I would just wake up, be on meetings, go to bed. That was my day, every single day, weekends included. And I looked at my calendar one day, there was like 9 hours of meetings that day. And I looked at that, I was like, there's no way this is what my life is. Just like stuck from meeting to meeting, unable to do anything else. So we actually ended up paying a lot of money to bring in these external consultants that audited how our business runs, how information flows, and how we manage the company as business owners. And the findings and recommendations that we got from these guys ended up completely revolutionizing how we run our team. Today, we have 90% less meetings that we did at the beginning of the year, and the team productivity is at an all-time high. So in today's video, I'm going to be taking you through the 5 big learning lessons that we learned from these consultants that have allowed us to get to the point where we are today, so that you can apply these today into your business. And it all starts with step number 1, which is to shorten every meeting on everyone's calendar in the company. You've heard this saying of work expands to fit the deadline. So if you have a deadline that is in 2 weeks, you're gonna make your work take 2 weeks for it to be completed. And if you have 2 days for that same deadline, you're gonna make it work within 2 days. The very same thing also applies for meeting times. If you have a meeting that is scheduled for an hour, people are gonna talk more just to fill that hour. So time expands to fill the length of the meeting. And one of the exercises that the consultants recommended us to do was actually to calculate how much does each meeting cost us to organize. So what we ended up doing is we took all our salaries within the team, so our average salary per month, and then we divided that by the number of working hours every person was working on average. And then what we did is, okay, we were like, let's say we're gonna do an all hands team meeting. Everyone in the team, unite right now, we're all having a meeting. And I remember I did this exercise once with my business partner, and we did the math, and an all hands team meeting would cost us like $1,500 just for that 1 hour. So I sat there and I thought, I was like, okay, would I spend $1,500 just to do that meeting? And how this got us thinking is it started to get us thinking in terms of dollar value of the cost of meeting. And how do we start reducing that? Because when people are in meetings, work doesn't get done. I'm gonna tell you in step 2, how do you get work done on meetings? But the very first step, what we did, and it was like a blanket initiative that we did. It wasn't like a couple meetings. Every single meeting. Every meeting in the company that was 1 hour long became 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes became 15 minutes long. And every 15-minute meeting was completely canceled from the calendar. And it was moved async, which is offline by message. And I promise you, just changing this one thing did not change whatsoever the productivity of our calls. And we made it a point, let's say it was a 30-minute meeting. At the 30-minute mark, the meeting was wrapped. Gentlemen, it's time, meeting is over, see you in the next one. The second rule that we implemented is no agendas means no meetings. You see, the reality of things is people think that meetings should be to discuss, but in reality, they should be to divide and conquer and plan next steps. The way we use meetings in the most productive of fashions is to bring all the stakeholders of a certain project to align on where we are in the project, and then to divide and conquer. It's like, okay, so you and I are gonna work on this. This person is gonna work on that project and is gonna check up with me to do that. And then these two people are gonna work together on that, but this person is gonna be responsible. So you are responsible, and then you're gonna be supporting. They're drafting what the game plan is going to be. This exactly is how meetings should be conducted. Meetings should not be about discussing and brainstorming. Brainstorming should happen offline. It should happen by the person responsible of the task itself. So that's the first thing that we did. No agenda equals no meetings. And just to show you the extent that we use this is right here our Team Notion portal. And you can see these are all the team meetings that were done today. These were all the team meetings that were done yesterday. And this is across the department. And you can see there's not a single meeting. If you look at the schedules of my team members, every single meeting has an agenda to it. I can go back all the way back a month ago. And just to show you a little bit what our meeting templates look like, I'm gonna make these available to you on a Google Doc document. Feel free to copy this, put it on Notion as you wish. But just to show you a little bit, this is the structure of the content meeting pulse, for example, that my team does together for our clients. So you can see the typical structure of these meetings happen in 4 stages. Number 1, segue. Number 2, updates. Then we have step number 3, which is IDS, which stands for identify, discuss, solve. So every problem that we have goes into IDS. So identify what the problem is, discuss the potential solution, and then solve the solution, and then conclusion. And we always like to start the segue, any good news from the team, update, share updates about each team member's priority and progress, good or bad. The good news is a time to pat yourself on the back. Any issues, bad news, or concerns should be dropped in the IDS portion of the agenda. Some companies have formal customer and or employer feedback system. If your organization does, this is where you would incorporate that tool. So you can see this is like literally the template from our consultants. Then you can see right here the conclusion, and there's a to-do list. Then you can see product meeting pulse. This is our project managers. Same thing, segue, updates, IDS, conclusion. That is exactly the same format. You can see sales has a meeting, leadership has a meeting, sales has an agenda, leadership has an agenda. The monthly all hands team meetings, there's an agenda. Below this video, there's a link to Google Doc that has the exact template that we use. Just make a copy of that page, use it internally, copy paste it inside your Notion, whatever works best for you. And the last thing I'm gonna say on the topic of agenda is even when you have an agenda, create a culture where people are okay calling out tangents. We have this thing right now at Unfungible where someone shouts tangent alert when they feel like there's a tangent. And all of a sudden the whole team gets, okay, yeah, that is a tangent. So number 1, start meetings on time and create a culture of starting meetings on time and then end the meeting on time as well. And when you do this long enough, then the team will start doing it themselves as well. The third rule that we've implemented is actually a culture of saying no to meetings. So you know these, hey, can we hop on a call? Or are you free right now? Messages. And then you end up picking up your phone and then you end up on a 1-hour call. And then whatever you were doing in the moment, you've completely zapped out of the zone and you find yourself back to square zero. We've created a culture internally within the team where team members are allowed to decline meetings. And if anything, they are invited to decline meetings. So now whenever people ask, hey, can you hop on a quick call? Default answer is this anything that can be a Loom or a message? And most of the time, people are gonna say yes. So they end up sending a message, and then you're gonna realize most of the time, people are gonna come to you and they're calling you to ask you for an opinion. It's like, hey man, I have this thing that I'm thinking about. Do you think I should do this? Well, in reality, this could have been a message, and usually how it's answered, it's, I'm aligned with you, go for it. As simple as that. 90% of the calls, hey, can you chat? Are these types of calls. And it usually starts with you, the person watching this, by you setting a culture within your team because you are most likely managing and running your own team. Setting a culture by asking people like, hey, by the way, like I love all of you, but here's the new culture we're gonna start to do. We're gonna test this out. Let's see if it works. If it does, here are the benefits. If it doesn't, we'll always revert back to the old ways. And you can say from now on, anytime I get a message from you, if I ask you, can this be a message? Don't be offended by it because this is what I'm trying to do. And usually people are gonna appreciate this because again, most employees, they don't like spending their day on meetings. They like laying back, being on their computer, being comfortable, and actually getting work done. This is what employees like to do. Rule number 4 is we made everyone a Loom account. If you don't know what Loom is just a tool on your computer that you can press a button and it starts recording the screen, audio, and video. So what you have the ability to do now is whatever you wanted to show on a call, you have the ability to present it right then and there on the screen. You show, hey, by the way, this is the campaign that I was working on. These are the 3 ideas. I brainstormed these 5 hooks that we can work on. What do you think, Leon? And the reason why Looms are great is because they allow you, number 1, to watch the Looms on time that is not deep work. You want to preserve your deep work and the deep work of the business. Deep work is when real work happens. So you want to protect your deep work as well as that of the team. Number 2, a Loom, you can watch it on 2x speed, read the transcript, and absorb it a lot better. So what would be a 30-minute call is a 5-minute Loom video. And reason number 3 is when people film their work, it forces them to be concise with it. It forces them to be concise with the point they're making and the question that they have for you. And rule number 5, this is something that I absolutely love. We actually just recently did it. And this is a quarterly meeting purge. There's a lot of recurring meetings that start very productive. I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, we started doing this recurring meetings with certain members of the team. At first, the meetings started extremely productive. The response that I got about these meetings were amazing. Everyone loved them. But then over time, the meetings started to get less and less productive. And then what happened, not too long ago, we sent a survey to everyone in the team to asking them what are all the recurring meetings that they have and what are the meetings that they think are becoming less productive that they would like to see removed from their schedule without affecting the work. And these people that were on that meeting, a lot of them said that that meeting was unproductive. And although it started very productive, it devolved into unproductive territory over time. So what we ended up doing is removing that meeting. So it did what it had to do, and then whenever it wasn't needed anymore, we just removed that. And the quarterly meeting purge is something that we do every single quarter. We send a survey, and then any meeting where we see 30% of people think that it's unproductive, we will usually cut it. And then the thing is, if it proves itself to be productive, then it will be rescheduled again. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, I was able to go from a CEO that was spending at least 5 hours a day on meetings to today having maybe 1 hour of internal meetings with the team. And then I have the majority of my day to actually produce for the business, to make content, to train my team, to build new SOPs, to create new marketing initiatives, to make important connections, and just to do the type of work that a CEO needs to do. So these are the big 5, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, shorten every single meeting by default. 1 hour becomes 30, 30, 15, 15 gets removed. Number 2, no agenda equals no meeting. Number 3, building a culture that says no to meetings. Number 4, get Loom accounts for your whole team and get them trained to use Loom. And step number 5 is a quarterly meeting purge. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Leon Aboud. It was a pleasure sharing this time together, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.